this time I wanted to do a little something special. This next chapter, chapter 3, is called Dragon Tales. Can you hear it? Exactly. No, I don't want to. Okay, that's it. That's enough. So, if you heard that, great. If you didn't, then I'm gonna have to restart this. So, I just thought it was funny because it's called Dragon Tales. Anyways, okay. At dawn, the sun's rays streamed through the windows, warming Eragon's face. By the way, this is a very long chapter, so it's gonna be like 5 parts or something. Like, where does it end? Okay, it starts at 19 and it ends at 35. Well, maybe 34. Warming Aaron's bed, rubbing his eyes, he sat up on the edge of the bed. Pine floor was cold under his feet. He stretched his forelegs and rubbed his back, yawning. Beside the bed was a row of shelves covered with objects that he had collected. There were twisted pieces of wood, odd bits of shell, and rocks that had broken to reveal shiny interiors. Why doesn't he just sell those? And strips of dry grass tied into knots. His favorite item was a root so convoluted he never tired of looking at it. Convoluted root. The rest of the room was bare, except for a small dresser and a nightstand. He pulled on his boot and stared at the floor, thinking this was a special day. It was near this very hour, 16 years ago, that his mother Selina had come home to Carvajal alone and pregnant. She had been gone for 6 years, living in the cities. When she returned she wore expensive clothes, and her hair was bound by net of pearls. She had sought out her brother Darrow and asked to stay with him until the baby arrived. What? Don't they have the money from the expensive clothes in this? She should have given them some money. I mean, she had the. She should have given them the net of pearls. That would have solved all their troubles. Um, Her hair was bound by it. She sought to and asked him. Within 5 months, her son was born. Everyone was shocked when Selena tearfully begged Gara and Marian to raise him. When they asked why, she only wept and said, "I must." Her pleas had grown increasingly desperate until they finally agreed. She named him Eragon, then departed early the next morning and never returned. Eragon still remembered how he felt when Marian told him the story before she died. The realization that Gara and Marian who were not his real parents had disturbed him greatly. Things that had been permanent and unquestionable were suddenly thrown into doubt. Eventually he had learned to live with it, but he had always had the nagging suspicion that he had not been good enough for his mother. "I wish I knew there was. I'm sure there was a good reason for what she did. I only wish I knew what it was." One thing one bothered him. Who was his father? Selena told no one, and whoever it might be had never come looking for him. Eragon. He wished that he knew who it was, if only to have a name. It'd be nice to know his heritage. He sighed and went to the nightstand, where he splashed his face, shivering as the water ran down his neck. Refreshed, he retrieved the stone from under the bed and set it on a shelf. The morning light caressed it, throwing a warm shadow on the wall. He touched it one more time, then hurried to the kitchen, eager to see his family. Garo and Rowan were already there, eating chicken. As Eragon greeted them, Rowan stood with a grin. Rowan was 2 years older than Eragon, muscular, sturdy, and careful with his movements. They could not have been closer even if they had been real brothers. Rowan smiled. "I'm glad you're back. How was the trip?" So, Eragon and Rowan are BFFs. "Hard, hard," replied Eragon. "Did Uncle tell you what happened?" He helped himself to a piece of chicken, which he devoured hungrily. "No." "No," said Rowan. Rowan is just gonna be my normal voice. And the story was quickly told. At Rowan's insistence, Eragon left his food to show him the stone. This elicited a satisfactory amount of awe, but Rowan soon asked nervously, "Were you able to talk to Katrina?" "No, there wasn't an opportunity after the argument with Sloane, but she'll expect you when the treasures come. I gave the message to Horace. He will get it to her." He told Horst, Roran said incredulously. That was private. If I wanted everyone to know about it, I could have built a bonfire and used smoke signals to communicate. I guess he's being sarcastic because does he actually know how to do that, and does everyone understand it back then? If Sloane finds out, he won't let me see her again. Horse, be discreet, assured Eragon. You won't let anyone fall prey to Sloane, least of all you. Roran seemed unconvinced, but argued no more. They returned to their meals, and they... Oh, you can't see it, okay. I just have a broken lamp that I thought you might be able to see. Oh shoot, we're gonna have to end this soon. My throat really hurts from all this talking. They returned to their meals in the taciturn presence of Garrow. When the taciturn. Oh, I had this word before. In the spelling bee. That was hard. When the last fights were finished, all three went to the work in the fields. The sun was cold and pale, providing little comfort. Under its watchful eye, the last of the barley was stored in the barn. Next they gathered prickly vine squash. Then the rutabagas, beets and peas, turnips and beans, which they packed into root cellar. After hours of labor, they stretched their cramped muscles, pleased that the harvest was finished. Okay, so they finished the entire harvest in a few hours. Fair enough. The following days were spent pickling, salting, shelling, and preparing the food for the winter. 9 days after Eragon's return, a vicious blizzard... Okay, I'm just gonna read this description of the blizzard in this paragraph. 9 days after Eragon's return, a vicious blizzard blew out of the mountains and settled over the valley. The snow came down in great sheets, blanketing the countryside in white. They only dared to leave the house for firewood and to feed the animals, for they feared getting lost in the howling wind and featureless landscape. They spent their time huddled over the stove as gusts rattled the heavy window shutters. Days later, the storm finally passed, revealing an alien world of soft white drifts. Oh, my throat really hurts now.